All right. Well, hey, Coaches Up for Change. It is Dee Corchin. I am glad to be with you. This is our weekly Coaches Up for Change team time. We come together for community, for inspiration, for learning. And what we're going to be doing over the next few weeks is really relying heavily on the launch, Ready, Set, Launch boot camp. That is really going to cover our basic skills, what we need to learn and grow as a coach, regardless of where you are in the company and your experience level. We all have that opportunity to grow, to learn, to get better, to go to our next level. So we're going to rely a lot on that boot camp, and what we're going to be doing on team time is more of the mindset and motivation, because we know that really that's about 90% of the equation. And tonight's topic is really good, talking about our belief system, kind of the shame cycle of thinking something's wrong with us or not good enough. But before we go there, I want to show you guys a really fun reel that Lauren Yeomans put together for us. We did our women's leadership retreat this weekend. So hang with me. I want to share it here, just a little over a minute if you didn't get a chance to see it in our Facebook group. So hang with me for just a minute while I share it as part of our inspiration for kicking us off.
Just got back from our mountain retreat with some of the most incredible leaders that I'm so grateful to partner with. And man, it was just such an incredible time. It was so much fun, so rejuvenating, refreshing. And one of our favorite things is every year we do a inspirational mug giveaway. We had quiet time in the morning just to sit by the fire and have personal development time and devotional time. And we went hiking, we went to a waterfall, spent a lot of time just sitting around the table, dreaming together for what could be this year, what our intentions are for our team. And words like connection and community and peace and joy and abundance came up, and planning exciting events for this year. And I think we were all just reminded that we're not alone. We have a tribe of people that are going through the hard things with us, and yet are dreaming together and uplifting each other and inspiring one another, focusing on the good. And we just want you to know that you are part of this team with us, and that there are room for more of us at our next retreat.
Isn't that awesome? Such a great synopsis of what happened there, what transpired. But I think some of the key things that Lauren said was about the connection and personal development. And when you're growing an entrepreneurial business, that connection, that growth, that investment in ourselves to get away, to learn together, to grow together is so important. So I know a lot of you guys have gotten notice about one of our upcoming events. And as we sat around the table, one thing that was uniform and unanimous within the group, I don't even know if that's the right word, but what consistent through the group was we realized that every person around that table attends all training events. Like everybody there attends everything that's available to them. So our next event that we have is the Launch to Global event in Dallas. Coming up, the dates are here, April 20th to the 22nd, and it takes place in Dallas, and this is for executive directors and above. So a big part of the boot camp that we have right now is to help you. Maybe you haven't reached executive director yet. Maybe you've slipped from your rank. It's to help you get there, as well as the levels above. But this is training that is for you. And I want you to notice these featured speakers. Dr. Anderson, Dan Bell, and the man in the middle is Jim Dethmer, who is the author of the 15 Levels of Conscious Leadership. This is rare. He is actually going to speak on all 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You do not want to miss this. This is executive level personal development training at a nominal cost for us as coaches. And one thing I learned early on, and there's very few things I speak passionately about, but I'm going to speak passionately about this, is the importance of investing and investing in yourself. And he is typically only spoke at Sundance, which is for highest level leadership. I think one other time he spoke to executive directors, and we really don't know if we'll ever get him again. But one of the things I learned along the way is the importance of investing, that as an entrepreneur, at least 10% of your earnings should get reinvested back into yourself, into your personal growth, and that you will typically see it 3 times in return back into your business. So if you've been on the fence about it, you can hop on my calendar, calendly.com/dcorchin. Would love to talk to you about the value and whether or not it makes sense for you to attend. So that is that. Tonight's topic, again, is going to be on this belief system in ourselves. And I can't wait for Shauna Davis to share this, lead this conversation, what she's been learning, and also have some of our team share. So take it away, Shauna.
Thanks, Dee. So much exciting stuff coming up, right? So first I'm going to share this graphic with you. And I heard a podcaster that I follow talk about this. And when I heard this, it was a light bulb moment for me, just light bulb, because I remember looking at Frank and saying, oh my gosh, we can use this for ourselves, and we can also use this for our clients. So it's called a shame spiral. And are you able to pull that up, Frank? He's helping me out with my share tonight. Okay, here we go. So it's a shame spiral, and it starts at the top with what's wrong with me. Has anybody ever thought that before? What's wrong with me? I've thought it a ton. And usually it's up here. And some of the things that we go through when we're in this what's wrong with me state is, why is my business not growing? Maybe it's me. My coaches aren't engaging. Maybe it's me. My clients aren't taking my calls. That one must be me, right? No one wants to work with me. What's wrong with me? We usually go from there to shame. And when shame starts setting in, we start seeking evidence for that shame. And it can be something from our past, something, from our present, but we gather this evidence usually from a rooted belief about ourselves. We may even believe they're factual. Most of the time they're not, but we may believe they are. And then we start looking for things that cause the shame, and we call that shame stacking, because usually it's more than one thing. I don't have what it takes to do this business. I'm not good with people. Everyone told me I was shy growing up. I'm an introvert. Even worse, right? And it goes on and on and on. We shame stack. When we shame stack, we usually stop showing up. That was on the next part of the circle. We stop showing up either physically or emotionally. It can be both. We may stop coming to events and trainings. We may stop engaging on social media. We may check out emotionally. We're usually just flat, if I can't really think of a better word for it. And sometimes we may still be showing up, but emotionally we've checked out. We're just a warm body in a seat. When this happens, we move on up the circle and our results start suffering. Our business starts falling flat. Content we post may be flat. Clients and coaches, they can feel our disengagement. Our heart just isn't in it. We all know what that can do to our business. And remember earlier I said you can translate this to your clients? You can go through every phase with your clients. I did it last night with one of mine, and she was like, oh my gosh, it was like a light bulb moment for her as well. Have you ever found yourself in this place, this spiral of What's wrong with me? You probably recognize it if you have. You recognize all those different steps if you have. I'd like you to be transparent, if you don't mind tonight, and put a 1 in the chat if you've been here in this circle anywhere, ever at all. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. And you know what this is doing? It's showing you are not alone. Because I always think I'm alone in everything like this. And it's so nice to see, isn't it, that almost all of us have been here. When we're in a place of shame or judgment, we miss things about ourselves to be proud of. Other people may see them, but we don't. We also miss the clues needed to right the ship because we're just in such a deep pit in all of this. So how do we move past this stinking shame spiral that we find ourselves in? Let's become curious, compassionate, and honest with ourselves. Let's do an inventory of our habits. And if we aren't open to doing this, we're probably going to find ourselves over there in that shame spiral a lot. So I'm going to tell you what a habit inventory is and the things that we look for. So when you're doing this, you want to start with your beliefs first. This is the I think part of your habits. What beliefs or stories are you continually bumping up against up here? No one wants what I'm offering. My program, way too expensive. They wouldn't possibly be interested. Oh, they already have a good job, so I'm not going to offer coaching to them. They don't need it. This market is saturated. Oh, y'all, the market is not saturated, by the way. We need lots more coaches. But you see where we went with that? It's a belief system that we start developing. Not true, but we convince ourselves it is. Number 2 is our identity. This is the I am part of who we are. What are you saying about yourself, about who you are? I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I just have this small little work from home business. I'm certainly not a professional. I haven't reached my goal, so why would anybody listen to me? I can't seem to stay on track. This is all the things we're telling ourselves. What's wrong with me? You know, I can do this really well. My story goes like this. I'm a high school dropout. I'm not smart enough to talk to people. I'm a procrastinator, therefore I must be lazy. Can't get anything done. I struggle with my own weight, so why in the world would anybody listen to me? Do you hear how deprivating that is? It's awful, but we do it to ourselves so well. Next, we have our behaviors. This is the I do. Are you passively building your business or are you actively building your business? How are you showing up? Passively might look like this. Am I willy-nilly building my business? Do I only do the bare minimum needed? Am I only sharing other people's stories because I'm too afraid to share my own? Or I have all this thought around what people will think when I share my own story. Let's look at actively. Are you actively building your business? Do I post daily? Do I engage with others on my social media? Am I showing up for training and webinars? Am I engaging others in conversation, quality conversation? Am I putting in a solid effort? Now, I want to stop right there for a second and remind you, a solid effort for you may look completely different than a solid effort for me. But what you want to focus on is if it's a solid effort, are you putting in a solid effort? Or are you just willy-nilly building your business? When we change our beliefs, we change our doing. And almost always when we change our doing, we start to change our identity and the way we see ourselves as coaches and leaders. So now that I've given you a little bit of a picture of what that shame spiral looks like and what we need to look at to maybe move past it or out of it or to get out of it quickly when we find ourselves in it, we're going to talk about some common gaps that a lot of us find ourselves in. And a gap is like you're right here, and this is where you want to be. And in between is this gap, this space. And I'm going to have 3 coaches talk about these gaps, but I'm going to tell you what they are really quick and give just a brief description of what they are. So the first one is our belief gap. This is belief in self, in other people, clients, coaches, people out there in the world, and Optavia. Next is the behavior gap. How are you showing up? What might be missing? And the third one is a skills gap. A skills gap, the skills are, it's our box of tools that we use. It's our content, our branding, the language that we're using when we're on social media to engage others. So with all of that, I want to bring in the first coach that's going to speak. And these coaches are doing a fabulous job in filling these gaps and really working on these things. They do a great job with it. So the first one is Lauren Humans, and she's going to talk to you about the belief gap. I'm so excited to hear from you girls.
Oh my gosh, Shauna, this is probably one of my favorite calls ever. And, you know, I think it's funny because Shauna asked me to do this, and just coming from a very vulnerable space, I have struggled with my beliefs in myself and others and in our business, to be honest. From June to the end of the year, my business looked like this. And I honestly, January 1st, I was like a puddle of tears, and I had lost sight of the confidence in myself and the belief in our company and what we had to offer, and the belief that other people would want to do this. And so I just want to come to you from that place of vulnerability. And it was funny because when we were sitting at the leadership retreat this weekend, every single person there stated that they've had similar feelings. So I just want you to know, if this is really hitting you, you are not alone. But I'd love to share with you what's helped me to move forward. So, you know, like we talked about, there are the 3 different categories in this belief gap. And so number 1 is ourself. And, you know, believing in ourselves, I think that, you know, there's a lot of rooted words there, you know, confidence, the way that we carry ourselves. Did you notice in the beginning when she was talking about the shame cycle, who was that making it about? It was making it about us, right? And if you notice, when someone's making it about themselves and they're in that self-deprecating space, I don't want to be around them. I'm not attracted to that. That's not an energy that I want to be around. You know, when we're doing health assessments and we're in that space and we're thinking about ourselves and am I saying this right? And, you know, we're not listening. We're not listening. And so, you know, really with ourselves, I think it's quieting that inner voice and just listening. And maybe it's remembering what this program has done in your life, what this program has done in the lives of your clients and the people that you get to partner with. And, you know, I think stopping the comparison cycle of, oh, we talked about this a lot this past weekend too, of, oh, well, I'm not like Meg. I'm not super bubbly and silly and the party person, you know, I'm not great at planning events, you know, whatever it is. But I think what's so powerful is when we can be ourselves, when we can connect to what are my gifts? How can I show up and be authentic to myself? What is that going to look like? And I'll tell you, when you start doing that, people will come to you. The right people will come to you. They will be attracted to that. When you can lean into the passion and the joy of what we're doing, that is attractive. And people will want to come and be a part of that with you. And the second, and also I just thought about this a minute ago, it's switching from being critical to being curious. If there's an area in your business where you're continually noticing, maybe just get curious around it. You know, what could I do differently? How could I show up differently? How could I get creative? How could I connect with this person? And then secondly is the others category. And I just thought of two specific things that have really helped me that I've stumbled with before. Number one being the cost of the program. And when we can instead focus on the value of what we're offering and focus on what it is that that person wants that we're talking to, and really paint a picture of what's possible, honestly, I don't hear about the cost very much at all anymore, because I take the time to listen and really believe in them that they can do this. I don't know if you can remember back to your health assessment when someone was doing a health assessment with you, but I was scared. I didn't believe in myself. I didn't believe that I could do this, but the person that was talking to me did. And that gave me the confidence that I could move forward. The other thing I want to talk about real briefly, because I just realized how fast the time is going by, is coaching. You know, I've heard a lot of people recently say, no one wants to coach. I keep talking about it and no one wants to do it. Same thing, getting curious, remembering the value. What has this done for you? What has being a coach done for you? Just listening to our clients, to the people in our worlds. What are they looking for? How could this meet a need? What would make them so great at this? Why would we want to partner with them? And going into with confidence into those conversations, because we know what we have in our hands. And the last thing is the business. I will tell you, as a nurse practitioner and being a coach for 5 years, I have seen and I have experienced before becoming a coach every program that is out there that there is to offer. And I just want to tell you guys, there is nothing else out there that will give our clients the community that we have, the accountability that we have, the knowledge that we have, the expertise of having such incredible personal development and doctors that have backed up this program and the medical research behind what we offer. There is nothing else out there. And there is by far nothing else out there that matches the cost and the value of what we offer. And if you are listening to this, I just want you to, you're here tonight. I just want you to think about what's one area in my belief that I could grow in, and how could I? And sometimes it's just getting back to that joy of, why did you step into this? And I had to do that this month. I had to think back to why did I step into this? And just remember that it's about connection and it is about others. So hope this is helpful.
Love that. Thank you so much, Lauren. Wow, that was amazing, right? Could you just feel all of that internally? Yeah, you're not alone. All right, the next speaker is going to be Lucy Ward, and she is going to talk to you about the behavior gap. Remember, the behavior gap is how are you showing up? Lucy?
Thank you, Shauna. Yes, so first I need to ask you all's permission to allow me to be extremely real and open about where I was when I stepped into coaching. Let me change my view because I don't want to look at myself. So the one thing that I had to really look at was, did I really believe in Optavia? I had to take a really hard look at myself and where my business is and was. And so the thing is, I believed that I could do it. It wasn't that I didn't believe that I could do it. I believe wholeheartedly that I could get to my goals. It was just a matter of when, once I started to change some things. And I'm going to tell you what I did. I kind of shared with Lauren what I was going to talk about in my mentor time. So I'm going to be very, very real. So one of the biggest behaviors that held me back was I can tend to be critical. I'm naturally a critical person. So I could be critical of the way things were being done, way a lesson was, was being taught, the way Optavia is doing, promoting this, or it didn't matter. I could find something. And then I had the nerves to even offer suggestions to Lauren and Meg, thinking I was better, or my suggestion was better. And I had to be honest that that was getting in my way. So What I had to do is really look at the fact that because I was in a negative state, my business wasn't growing. When I'm in a negative frame of mind, I'm not open-minded to hear other people and to understand why something may be done or they're doing things the way they're doing. And when I can't, and I'm not open-minded to learn and understand, my business stops growing. So that was the first step, is I had to really do a lot of self-reflecting. And hopefully I've changed that because I've been very conscious to not be critical and complain. The number two, and goes along with that, with being open, is really asking my mentor where my blind spots are. So I've come from 30 years in a corporate arena and was really darn good at what I did. And that's not both, I was good at what I did. So I thought I knew what to do. I know what to do. You don't have to tell me anything. But that got in the way, the arrogance, the pride. And you have to be willing to ask the hard questions, even to your mentor, of what they see that is stopping your growth. And I had to do that with Lauren. And so once I started doing that, and then don't take it and just, oh, okay, and then go and be critical about it, but really go back to the self-reflection as to why that's standing out. Why, what is it that they see? What am I doing? Or what am I not doing that could be causing my business to stall or to slow down? So that's the second. Ask for feedback from my mentor. That's what I did. So these are steps that I took. And then the last point, the third step, is get to work, action. What does that look like for me? For me is I had to get organized. I'm already kind of naturally organized, but I had to get even more so organized, utilizing my calendar, scheduling mentor time every single week. Daily posts and stories. Shauna touched on this, already. There are things that I do every single day, without a doubt. I don't post on Sundays because Sundays is my rest day, but 6 days out of the week, I post. I work my A to Z list. I have conversations every single day. And I have conversations not about their health journey. I'm just having conversations to get to know people. That clicked for me about 2 months ago, because every time I'd have a conversation, I always had this, oh, I got to get them to become a client. No, I'm getting to know them, building a relationship with them virtually. And then I still touch bases with my past and inactive clients. And then the biggie for me is tracking and monitoring my business weekly. I can't be a business owner not knowing where I am and where I'm going. And so every 5 days, I may not do it daily, but every 5 days, I am tracking I'm on Optavia Connect to see where my business is, where my coaches are, so that I can know how to support them as well. And so those are my 3 points: self-reflect, ask for feedback from your mentor, and get to work. Thanks, Shauna.
Lucy, that was amazing. Thank you for being so brutally transparent with us. So good. That was
You're
gold.
welcome.
Okay, last one, skills gap. Stacy Gillen, I can't wait to hear what you've got to share with us.
Thank you, Shauna. And oh my goodness, just so far, such gold that has been shared with us. And man, I can relate to so much that has been shared. But, it was interesting when Shauna had said, do you mind talking a bit on the skills gap piece? And I've been reflecting, and what jumped into my mind was a newborn learning as they're growing to say their first words, right? They're mimicking, they're just trying things. There's no fear. They're just trying. And then taking it into a toddler who's learning to walk, right? So they fall down an awful lot. Doesn't seem to faze them. They get right back up and they keep going until they master that skill, and so on and so forth. And I think about Lucy's reflections of coming from, a different environment, a different world. And what we do is likely new for many of us. Some of us are newer. Some have been doing this a long time, but really it's all around as you think about the mindset and the behavior. And then you say, okay, so what do I need to do? You then say to yourself, what skills am I lacking? And how do I go about building them? And there's a couple of phrases that people have shared with me over the last 2 years that have really resonated that I wanted to share with all of you. And I know we're short on time, so I'll make it brief. One of those is imperfect action is better than perfect paralysis. And I found myself in the very beginning of all this, and I often still do, of recording videos and deleting and recording videos and deleting because they're not perfect. It's just stopping me from action. Mm-hmm. And the only person at the end of the day that probably thinks whatever it is that I've done is imperfect is me, mm-hmm. and no one else. So just do it, just move. And with that practice of whatever it may be, whether it's a really quality health assessment, whether it's a coach explore and bringing somebody to that with your mentor team, if it's social media, just try it. No one will know it's imperfect but you. Dee, I think, said to me one time, you really only also have to be one fueling and one page in your life book ahead of your client. So don't let it get hung up on action or lack thereof because you don't feel like you know it all. Just keep learning and just keep trying. So those were the big things for me. If I think about just going, and probably last but not least, and I hope all of you have embraced this with this community. This community is like none other. Mm-hmm. If you watch a fellow coach on this team do something and you're curious and you're like, wow, I'd like to do that. What is it that you do? I have yet to find someone who was not more than willing and generous in sharing their time to help me understand and to do things differently. So take advantage of this amazing community. The system works just like the 5-in-1 works. All of the tools that we have, if we follow them, we embrace learning, we can be unstoppable. So with the time, I'll turn it back to you, Shauna.
Thank you so much, Stacy. Oh my gosh, how much gold did y'all get from all of this? It was great tonight. I'm going to turn it back over to Dee, but I want to read you something really quick, just a snippet. Kristen Boss says, success isn't about speed. It's about intention, commitment, and focus. Speed leaves us with a rush of dopamine. That's why we like it so much, but it doesn't last. Working from a place of commitment, focus, and consistency leaves us with fulfillment, a deep sense of peace and joy. So retrain your brain to work, you heard this, Dee says it all the time, to work the long game. And take pleasure in that rather than the hustle of the speed. Thank you so much.
Wow. Anybody else feel like inspired, on fire? Like put a 10 in the comments if this was one of your favorite team times we've ever had. I have learned in my journey, I used to be a doer. You know what? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. I'll do it and I'll do it better than anybody else. Just do. But the reality is, it's not so much about the action, but this energy that we're bringing behind it. And there were times when I was doing all the action, but so full of self-doubt, self-unbelief, etc. And so all of the things that the amazing coaches shared on this call are so true. So I am glad you guys were here to hear this. And if you've ever felt alone, please know that you've got 63 people on this call that are feeling this. It is a very normal part of being a human. It is just part of humanity. And so thank you for being here for it. Take what was said, right? Like this is not about us. We have one more day with the Commit to Health, one more day, right? So who else needs a chance to get healthy? Who else needs a chance? Who else their life might change because you took the time to put one more post out, to put one more, to make one more phone call, check in with somebody. It is an incredible savings. We have helped almost 300 people. If every person on this call helped one more person before the end of the day tomorrow, we would help, 63 more people. So how amazing would that be? So I've got some fun things to share with you, some great things that we're doing as an organization to improve our impact, simplify, streamline. I was going to share more of it tonight, but I want to respect your time. So look for a Facebook Live from me tomorrow on that in our coaches group. But thank you again, Shauna, for putting together this high quality, great content with a lot of heart team time. So love you guys, and we will see you during the week. Let's finish the month strong and help a lot more people. Bye.